beautiful people of the internet, and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to make a little kind of beginner's guide, just all the things that I wish I knew when I first started playing this game. Emphasis on beginner's guide because a lot of these things are pretty well known in the community. So if you're a veteran player, been playing since the beginning, feel like you know everything, this might not be the video for you, but I would still recommend watching it all the way through. And if there is something that you didn't know, then I would say that you might have to subscribe. I hope we have a deal there. So we're just gonna get straight into it. First, it's something that took me an embarrassingly long time to figure out. So if you click this little backpack button right here, this is your storage, right? So yeah, you can sort it between items, home, miscellaneous, but this is everything that you're holding. This is your backpack. So everything on your person. You don't have to have everything in here. So if there is stuff that you are not wanting to hold on to, then you can actually store it. All you have to do is be on your home plot and click on the item, and you can click store. And then when you click this button right here, this is your home storage, like your warehouse. So this is where I keep all of my furniture because there's absolutely no reason to be carrying any of this around, really, if the only thing you're going to be doing with it is building. So yeah, all furniture items, all things that are basically unusable on a day-to-day basis, I'm just going to put that all in my home storage. Second thing, it's still kind of surprising that a lot of people don't know about this, but there's a lot of things that are dependent on the weather. So if you click your watch up here in the top right, you can see the weather up top right here, but you are actually able to click on this. So if you do just that, you will actually see the forecast for the next few days. Right now it is an aurora, which doesn't really do anything, quite honestly. It's mostly just visual, but something like a meteor shower right here has some very limited resources. So for example, you can get these starfall shards from the meteor showers, and you cannot get them anywhere else. There is also a special weather NPC who only shows up during specific weather events. So her name is Doris. She does appear on rainy and snowy days, as well as the meteor showers and rainbows. She'll be in a different location and in a different outfit. So for example, for the rainbow, she is in all pink and she will be located at the base of the rainbow. But on snowy days, she likes to hang out, I think, around here in the art district. So that is something I would recommend looking up. Just when you do see a rainy, snowy day or a meteor shower or a rainbow, just look up where she's at, because something else special about her is she gives you colored sugar, and colored sugar is the only thing that can make these roll cakes. So you have an original, and then there's a few different colors. I haven't gotten them all yet, but red will be with the red sugar, violet will be with the violet sugar, and so on and so forth. If collecting is a huge priority to you and you want to make every recipe, want to get all the food that's available in the game, this is something that you're gonna have to focus on. She sells 20 of them every time one of these events is happening, and I believe they're about 150 coins a piece. You can also get some special emotes from her, so it's definitely worth checking out her shop and getting some of the things that she offers. Rainbow days also have a lot of special buffs, like you can get extra resources from all your basic things, so that's pretty cool as well. So make sure you're taking advantage of whatever weather is happening. Another big thing in this game, especially since we're talking about limited resources, is the roaming oak and the flawless flourite. So these are two resources in the game that only show up once every day. And the reason why I'm driving around the neighborhood right now is because they always appear in someone's front yard. So sometimes it's a little bit tedious and it's a very long drive to find these places. But as you can see, this is the roaming oak tree. Just like a normal tree, you hit him 3 times, he'll give you 3 wood, but then you are done for the day. You cannot get any more wood from him. And the flawless flourite looks like a mole. Well, technically at first it just looks like a blue gem in the ground, but then it pops up and it's a mole. But same thing for that. You can only get 3 of those resources. As you can see, I only have 2 flawless flourite and I have no roaming oak because they're used in a lot of crafting recipes. And again, coming from a collector, I do like to try and craft every recipe available, and a lot of them do require these resources. So I pretty much always have a very low supply. And while we're on the topic of rare wood, something that a lot of people have been bringing up to me lately is these elder trees. So they actually show up on the corners of your residential areas, kind of on the rivers. They're kind of hard to miss because they're much bigger trees than any other ones. These spawn more often than once a day, but they do take a little while, and they give you a little bit more rare of wood than, say, just regular timber. You can get quality timber and rare timber, which is also used in a lot of crafting recipes. So I definitely think it's worth doing a whole circle around your neighborhood, maybe taking a look at everyone's houses, you know, why not explore while you're doing that? Maybe give some people some likes, water their flowers, but also look for the roaming oak and the flourite and knock out all your elder trees. So my next tip is one of my absolute favorites. So if you go in here to the clothing store, obviously there are clothes, a lot of very, very cute ones, but if you didn't know, there is an upstairs area over here where you can customize your appearance. So you can do more than your clothing. You can do your hair. You can even do like really crazy gradients on your hair. So for example, this is the base of the hair I have on right now, but you can do a gradient like this. You can do highlights. You can do personalized. So that's why I have kind of a pattern to my hair a little bit. You can also do eyebrows, eyes. You do have to spend a little bit of money to change some of these up, but they have some really, really cute options. I believe you can also do this if you have a mirror, but if you're just starting out and you don't, this is a really easy way to do it. Since we're on the topic of shops, I will also say all of the outfits in the clothing store rotate daily. So you won't be seeing the same things every single day. If you really, really like an outfit, don't count on it being there tomorrow. Keep in mind that, yeah, it will probably come back sooner rather than later, and you will have the option to get it at some point. But if you have the money, it's probably better to just grab it right away. Same thing with the furniture store. So for example, this is usually a crafting recipe. Sometimes it's an item. This is always worth wishing stars, but because I want all the crafting recipes, I'm pretty much always picking this up. But yeah, all of these items on these stands in the front of the store, these are all daily items. However, these two, I don't know what to call this, the little display screen, I guess, that's on the sides when you first enter a store. These rotate weekly. So you are able to get things from this all week. As you can see, I bought out this whole entire set, and I bought out some of this as well. Might just pick up a few more things while I'm at it. But just like the clothing store, there is an upstairs area in the furniture store. And this display up here, it's much bigger, and it's also on a weekly rotation. So when it comes to these stores, use your money wisely and think about long term, which also kind of relates to my next tip, which is be careful with your wishing stars. I mean, be careful with all of your currency because it's limited, but at least for coins, you can continuously make them by foraging and just constantly selling, but your wishing stars are not as plentiful. I guess it's probably better to show it here, but as you can see, there's a lot of things that cost wishing stars. This might not seem like too much, like we have 5, 30, 35. So this comes out to 70 wishing stars, but you don't get a ton, and there's also not really ways to get it, I guess, freely. So you can't just constantly farm them. You are able to get some from your weekly and daily quests, so 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 just from your daily stuff, and you can get 20 from your weekly request. You're also able to get them randomly through bubbles and some of your collections as well. So we'll talk about this a little more later, but as you build your collections, you can get wishing stars as rewards, but as you can see, it's still just 20 for a pretty high tier of fishing rewards. So be careful. They are not limited per se, like you're not only bound to a certain amount ever, but you are kind of set with a fixed amount that you're guaranteed to be able to get each day, if that makes any sense. My next tip is something that really destroys people when they first start playing this game. I guess either you love it or you hate it. So this developers guild icon in your watch, this is your player level. So if you're a big gamer, I'm sure that's a common theme between games is like leveling up your character. So currently I am DG member 26, basically player level 26. This is what like actually progresses you through the game. You get new features, you get upgrades to your tools and your warehouse spaces. Most games you level up through experience that you can just farm constantly. So you can go fish all day, you can catch bugs all day, farm, whatever you want to do, and every single thing you're doing is upgrading your experience points. But that's not how this game works. So the only thing that actually levels up your DG member level is this down here. So as you can see, I would need 120 contribution medals to level this up. Even though the cost to upgrade is 6k, it doesn't matter because I need to have this bar filled all the way before I can upgrade. And there is only one singular thing in the game that gives you contribution medals, which is your daily request. So when you log in every single day, you want to click this button, this little calendar button up here, and you want to accept all of these requests, because if you don't do these, you aren't leveling up, and you have to make sure you accept them before you can actively work on them. As you can see, all of these only give you 10 apiece, so 50 contribution medals. Once you start really leveling up, it will take a lot of days before you can level up again. I don't know about you guys, but I've never played a game like this, and I do enjoy it, but it is just something to keep in mind, is that if you're starting off playing, you're not going to be able to get caught up to the players who have played every single day since day one. You are completely time locked, at least at this point. Maybe later on they'll give other ways to farm contribution medals, but that has not happened yet. So even for some of us who started playing 2 or 3 or 4 days after release, we're still never going to be able to catch up to the people who started playing day 1 and have not stopped playing since then. So it has its pros and its cons for sure, but I think it's a pretty nice feature because it actually forces us to not play 24/7, because some people get so lost in the grind, they do nothing else, and then they get burnt out. So this way, it's kind of hard to get completely burnt out. And just because I said this is something you really want to do every day, like it's probably the one thing I would really press every single person to do. The only other thing I would say is kind of pointless to not do is your daily check-in. So if you click this little globe icon up here, there's going to be a lot of things when you first start. Actually, you do get this new life log, which will give you a bunch of rewards as well, but this guild sign in, this gives you rewards every day. All you have to do is click it, just click claim, and you get free stuff. So there's basically no reason not to do this. It takes about 5 seconds, and it's good to have a lot of these things because they are a premium currency. For my next tip, we are going to travel over here to the top right area called the Forest Island. So all you have to do is cross this bridge, and you're probably on one of the most important areas of the game, specifically when you're starting out. So if you come over here, there will be these little patches in the ground that look like dirt, but they are actually forageable areas. So if you just forage right here, you'll get a bunch of black truffles. So I know someone commented on my daily routine video telling me how many patches of truffles there were, but I forgot the exact number. I believe there are 8 possible locations for them to spawn in, but there will only be 4 patches at any given time. But I feel like you'll start figuring it out pretty quickly once you start doing it a lot. So the reason why these truffles are extremely important is because they are going to be your main moneymaker when you're first starting off. There are several recipes that you can cook. So right here, the black truffle cream pasta is my personal favorite. There's been some discussion on if this is more profitable or not, because this requires 2 wheat, and wheat takes 4 hours to make, so you want to limit the amount of wheat that you use, but this will actually make you more money. It might take you a little bit more time, but it will factually make you more money. There's also this black truffle pie, which, like I said, takes a little bit less time because it's actually 1 wheat, and it does make a lot of money as well. So I believe it's just those 2 recipes, at least as of now. This is just what I've unlocked. Those are the only things that you can specifically use truffles for. Do not use them in your grilled mushroom because you're just making basic grilled mushroom at that point, and it doesn't have the same kind of payoff. But these 2 right here, these will be your money makers. And if you're not at the point to where you can cook them, they sell for a lot just by themselves, which if you're new, it is always, always, always better to process your ingredients, meaning any of your crops, any of the things you buy from Massimo, anything that you forage. You will get so much more value if you cook it down into something rather than selling it as it is. So if you have the opportunity to cook it, please cook it. But if you haven't unlocked the recipes yet and you want to make money, you can just sell them by themselves. They take a little bit of time. I think it's like 15 minutes to respawn. So you still get a lot of access to these mushrooms. Another thing I want to say is do not sleep on foraging. I feel like especially a lot of the players now are getting tired of foraging, but jams and jellies can still make a good bit of money if you have nothing else to make. Like I pretty much cook everything I have available every day. As you can see, I can't make really any of these things because I'm out of every crop. But if I just go outside and grab some blueberries, I can make blueberry jam. If I go outside and grab some apples, I can make apple jam. If I go outside and grab mandarins, I can make mandarin jam. There's a lot of different things that you can just easily cook into food. And although you won't be a billionaire, you know, you're still going to be able to make some money. Foraging is completely free to do, and especially the bushes that are right in front of your house, like the blueberries and apples and raspberries, mandarins. It's like they respawn so fast. You can just constantly be farming them and you're able to make some money out of it and upgrade your cooking. So I don't really see a reason not to, like I said, if you don't have anything else to do and you're bored. Another thing that I really need a big reminder for is to always have food on you. So I have a lot of energy right now, so this is not going to matter. But when your energy is low, you start to move very slowly and it gets so annoying. So if you have food on you, you can just up your stamina or up your energy a little bit. Make sure you're not dragging yourself around. You can still drive no matter what. Like you won't drive slower because your energy is low, but you will run slower and it just gets annoying. So always make sure you have like 3-5 salads on you. It's like the quickest thing to make, easiest thing to make. It just will give you that little energy boost so you don't have to be dragging your feet everywhere. Okay, another thing I want to say, which I kind of hinted at earlier, but never sell your extra crops. So for example, if I harvest all of this, I am probably not going to have an even number of crops. So like for my tomatoes, I believe I can only make one tomato sauce. I'm not gonna have enough to make a second, but you can see I still have 3 left over. And you might look at these 3 and say, you know, I don't really want to cook anything with this. I might as well just sell them. This is just for this specific example, but this 1-star tomato will only sell for a profit of 20 gold. However, if you take 4 of these 1-star tomatoes and you cook that into tomato sauce, it will make you 140 gold. So if you're doing the math and you take the 20 gold that you would get from this 1-star tomato and multiply it by 4, you would only get 80 gold out of that, whereas you would get 140 from the tomato sauce. So that is 60 more gold for that scenario, which isn't a ton, but it really adds up, especially when you're getting into the really big, really expensive crops like strawberries and grapes and all this other stuff that we're gonna start unlocking soon. It might feel easier because you can't cook them in that moment, but just wait it out until you get more later and it will pay off more. Another reason it is good to cook things instead of just selling them normally, like I said earlier, is to upgrade your cooking hobby. It's also better to improve your collections. So if you go here in Gourmet Life, you will see that you have a star rating on all of your items. So pretty much every item besides like the bizarre food and the bizarre drink, which you just make when you mess up a recipe, they're all gonna have 5 stars that you can get. This is also something that's very different from other games, at least from what I've experienced, but your collection is not based on how many of these you have cooked or how many of these you've eaten. It is based on the star rating. So if I just count this row here, this is not 4 items. This is 20 stars. So right now I only have 10 out of 20 of these stars, and that's what you get rewards for. So even though I've cooked pretty much everything that I have available to cook, I still have many things that I can get to 5 stars. Like, I can continue cooking this house salad over and over and over again until I get 5 stars. They also give you a kind of like, I don't know what this is. Oh, I guess a PR. Kind of a ranking on how much you've cooked these things. So right now I'm only a house salad cooking beginner because I've only made it 93 times out of 160. But say for like a latte, I am a latte cooking apprentice because I've made it 385 times. So that's why I have this little medal in the corner, and as you continue cooking things, you will get higher medals. And the same thing applies for pretty much everything else in the game. So fish are the same thing. You have rankings on each fish and you have star ratings. So even if you've already caught a fish, or if you've already caught a bug, or if you've already taken a picture of a bird, or already cooked a recipe, or already grew a crop, literally you're not done. I don't know what else to say other than you're not done. You have so much more that you can do. Basically, the tip here is to keep doing things more than once. Don't feel like you have completed the collection just because you have cooked every recipe one time, because you need to max that out. And obviously play the game as you want. If you're not into collections and it's not important to you, don't worry about it. But you are watching a video from someone who is a completionist and must get everything to 100% to feel comfortable. So that's just one of my things that I've noticed about this game and that I think is really interesting, kind of in the same category. So instead of skills in this game, your skills are called hobbies, and you are kind of limited within these hobbies also on how much you can upgrade them. So when I was talking about the DG member level, so the player level, I was talking about how usually games take your experience from doing random things. Instead of it being generalized in this game, it goes to the specific action that you are doing. So if you're cooking, you will get cooking proficiency points. Same thing goes with gardening, with fishing, with bird watching, with insect catching, cat carrying, and dog carrying, and snow sculpting if you've picked up the new hobby from the event. But until you fill up your progress bar for that specific hobby, like you've done that hobby enough to get a certain amount of experience points, you can't upgrade it. But even after you fill up this bar, you still have to have enough hobby upgrade tickets. So as you can see, the source here on how to get them is from the Developers Guild, which is your player level, which can only be upgraded from your daily requests. So we're back to that again, but also from your collection rewards. So again, if we go back to the collections, you can see that if you upgrade these collections, you will get a few hobby upgrade tickets along the way. So kind of take back what I just said. It's not only about being a completionist, it's also a big part in you progressing in the game. Hobby tickets are pretty sparse when you're first starting out. I think right now I've kind of gotten a decent amount because it does take a while at this point to get this upgrade bar all the way full, but it still costs a lot to upgrade these hobbies. So I would suggest using them wisely, basically using them for the things you know are going to advance your game more. For example, I just focus on making sure I have enough to continue upgrading my cooking and my gardening, because I know that every day I'm going to plant my crops, I'm going to harvest them, and I'm going to cook them. However, I might not have the time every day to catch insects and go bird watching, catch fish. I don't really focus on my dog carrying, cat carrying, because that's not an important piece of the game to me. But that's just me personally. If you really love a certain hobby and you know that's what you're going to spend a lot of your time doing, then it's probably more helpful to upgrade that one so that you can get higher star levels for those things you're getting in your collection, so that you can upgrade your collection faster and you can get more hobby tickets that you can continue building on all your other hobbies. I know it probably sounds complicated if you're a complete beginner, but I promise it's not that bad. Something else I think is super important, which I wish I had an example to show you guys right now, but I don't think I'm gonna get very lucky. As you're running around your map, you will notice that these little bubbles pop up. For the most part, you're gonna see a lot of white bubbles. Those are really common. They do give you sometimes some really nice resources, but for the most part, they're just like basic. But they will pop up randomly because they are just common randomized bubbles. Oh, here we go. It's super nice. yeah, so see, I got stone from that. That's a pretty basic, easily obtainable resource. So you're going to get more things like that in these bubbles, and that's why they just pop up randomly along the map. However, you might come across a pink bubble every now and again. And I'm sure when you first see them, you're going to be like, oh, that looks like really cool and special. You might pop it and it might not have something super special, but it also might have something special. Kind of depends. The reason why they look cooler is because they are rarer, but it's not randomized like the white bubbles. There's actually specific locations for them, and there are 15 that pop up every week. So my recommendation is every week, just look up the bubble guides. There are people who post videos. I believe there's also guides just on like web pages, but the one that I reference every time is from Sarahverse. It's actually the reason I started playing this. I actually watched his main channel where he played Disney Dreamlight Valley, and he had a second channel that he started playing this on, so I was like, ooh, okay, I want to check it out. And he has some of the best guides ever. He is super reliable, and he has been an absolute lifesaver for me for Heartopia. This next tip is really relevant too, since I'm talking about Sarah, but if you see this little, I don't even know what this is, like a carousel gift icon up here, this is where you have your limited time banners. It's really insane how many layers this game has, because the gacha system is wild. But if you haven't played gacha games before, basically it's just a grab bag that is happening for a limited time. I don't know if that's the best way to explain it, but this is the one I'm pulling on right now. We have 52 days left on it, and these are all the possibilities of things you can get if you pull on this banner. My tip for this is gonna sound kind of harsh, but I would really recommend leaving all of these alone, unless you're gonna put in the work to really understand them. So when you go to any of this, you can click the question mark and it will explain how these things work. You can also see your draw history to see what your future chances are. But if you don't play gacha games, this might be confusing. Even if you do play gacha games, this is just a different system than a lot of people have been used to. So I'm not saying do not pull on this, but be very careful, because this equates to currency that costs real money. The game is going to give you some of it for free, but past that point, you're pretty much not going to get any more. And I don't want you guys spending money if you don't know what you're getting into. Of course, it's important to spend responsibly. So as I mentioned, Sarahverse, he has a whole guide to the banners, how they work. He breaks them all down. He is much smarter than me when it comes to these things. I understand the risk. I understand that I'm probably not going to get the things that I want, and I am okay with that. So that's why I throw all of my currency at this. But yeah, if I like really, really wanted something, I would be careful on how I am using my pulls. My next tip is specific towards the animals on the map. So if you run around, you may have noticed these little creatures, these little food bowls. There is also a specific tab with animals under your watch. So I think this is just something that a lot of people overlook. So your animals have multiple favorite foods and multiple favorite weathers. At least some of them have multiple favorite weathers. But it is worth trying to figure out what all of these are. I'm going to be making an animal guide soon, explaining what all their favorites are and breaking down my animal route and all of that. But I just know I had this issue with a few different creatures. So like for this, I can't remember exactly what this type of fish is, but the ferrets really like this type of fish, but they also like eggs. So for me, yeah, if I have some extra fish, maybe I'll give it to them, but I have a lot of eggs and it's really easy for me to just give them eggs, so that's what I usually do. I know a lot of people probably feel the opposite. They would rather catch fish because they don't want to waste their eggs, but I think this is important because for a while I thought they only had one favorite food and that's what I had to seek out. But like a lot of these things were just stuff that I didn't want to get for them. Like I'm not gonna waste my pineapples when I can just go and grab blueberries for the alpacas. Same thing for the capybaras. Like I'm not gonna give them my grapes. The grapes are worth so much more when I can just give them a raspberry. This next tip is very, very niche, but when you are early game, there is a quest line that comes up that rewards you with a piano. Please don't sell that piano. You're going to be talking with Annie a lot in the beginning, and she actually has a music store. So you can buy a lot of instruments from her. Pianos are insanely expensive. So they're almost 200,000 gold. And you may be like me and think, oh, it's just really easy to sell. I don't really want one anyways. That's fine. And it might be true. It's just, I can't remember how much I made for the piano, but it wasn't very much. So in my opinion, there's just no reason to sell it. Now you will have sales. For example, like this is 90% off. That's huge. I think they're gonna have a sale on a different item like every day. So you can get it for less, but I don't know. If you're ever at the point that you need a piano, I'm not sure what point that would be, but if you do ever need one, it's just nice to have it and not sell it for virtually no money. Now, my very last tip applies pretty much to this area right here and this little snowman icon on top. So I just want to explain this a little bit because this was something that was so confusing to me when they were first bringing this up. So this is a fashion wave. The specific fashion wave that we are in is the winter frost season, and we are on week 2 of this season. So another thing, if you've played other games, this is very similar to a battle pass. The main idea is that you are working through rewards on this tier system. The way you get rewards is from doing different activities. So this is broken down by type. So you have certain ice skating goals, certain cooking goals, certain gardening goals, and so on and so forth. You also have collection goals with specific like limited things that are only happening during this event. So we'll have specific fish, we'll have specific recipes, specific insects, specific crops, and specific birds. But you also have different weekly challenges. So this is just going to be different actions it wants you to perform to get different rewards and also get fashion wave points that you can put into this tiered reward system. That was just something I wanted to give a little bit of explanation for because I didn't understand. I thought the fashion wave and the winter frost event were two different things. I think calling it a fashion wave is a really weird word for it. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, it's basically just the running event. So if you ever see the word fashion wave come up where it says that you're in fashion wave prep or it is not the current fashion wave yet, it just means the event hasn't started or you're prepping for that event. And I know it looks like there's a lot of layers to it too. It can be kind of overwhelming when you click on this tab and see all the things that are available for you to do, but these are all feeding into this reward screen. And you're just trying to build up your points for this experience bar so you can keep getting all of these rewards. And yeah, the things that you do through these two tabs will be the things that let you achieve that. So I think that is about all I can think of for new players. I mean, sure, I could probably come up with more, but this is the basics. If there is any confusion, please ask. I will happily give you the best answer I can. And if there's anything that you would like to see in another video, definitely be sure to let me know. I will make anything that you guys are really interested in and you think will help. But otherwise, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to leave a like and a comment. And if you're feeling generous, you can even subscribe. I do hope to see you guys all in the next video, but if not, bye bye.